Okay, thank you.
Perfect, Kamal. All right, so let us start. Today we are going to discuss again 5 questions which are important for your PMP exam preparation. These are in the language that will be used in exam. Language would be English. I mean, the tone of the language would be similar to what you're going to see in the exam. And while we are discussing how to answer those questions, we'll do an X-ray of understanding how to read the questions, how to spot the options, and how to find out the best choices. Okay, so you will see 5 questions on your screen, just like always. Have a look at the question, put the answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss how to answer those questions. And if there is any specific topic, any specific concept that we identify in that questions, that also we will discuss. Okay, so let us start with our first question of the day. Okay, have a look at the question, put the answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss. All right, so let's discuss this. Okay, a team member who has recently joined an agile team claims that while distributing the tasks among the team members, a senior team member is taking up all the exciting features, leaving the junior members with not so exciting pieces of work. Okay. See, whenever you are reading the question, you need to spot some of the important words, okay, which defines the question. Okay. Here the word is claim. Right? So there is a team member who has recently joined, and that person claims that when the tasks are being distributed, okay, a senior member is taking all the exciting pieces of work and giving the junior members not so exciting pieces of work. But it is just a claim, and this you must spot whenever you are reading the questions. Okay, because as a project manager, you need to understand that most of the projects fail because of lack of communication or miscommunication. Okay, hence PMP tests you as a project manager whether you also fall to the miscommunication or you take the right kind of decisions. Okay, so if you read this question, you realize that okay, it is just a claim from a team member. Okay, it might or might not be the problem. Okay, so it might be true that the senior member is taking up the exciting work, or it might not be true. Right? So how should you respond to that? How should the project manager respond? Right? First, I would try to verify, okay, whether whatever claim is being made is true or not. Right? That's the general first thing. Okay, need not be the answer. Okay, you might not find that in your options, but that is your general understanding. That, okay, if somebody is claiming for something, whether it is a team member, stakeholder, sponsor, anybody, okay, who is claiming, who has a concern, who is complaining, I need to first validate whether whatever they are complaining about, is it true or not? Right? Your sponsor would say that your team member is not working properly. You would want to verify that, right? Okay, dear sponsor, why do you think so? What made you think so? What are the data behind this? Okay, in which area does my team member does not work, right? So you need to verify the complaint, concern, and the claim. Right? So while reading it itself, it should run in your mind that okay, it is just a claim. Okay, with practice, it will automatically get developed. Now we go to options. Okay, discuss with the junior and senior team member to analyze the concern. Should we do that? Absolutely yes. right? Somebody is complaining about something. Yes, let us try to discuss with the junior and senior member. Let us bring them both together and see whether that is exactly what is happening or not. Right? So looks like a very good choice. This is how I should respond. Then we go to B. Instruct the senior member to conduct a fair distribution of tasks. See, if you choose this as an option, then as a project manager, you have already established that whatever the team member is claiming is true, which is not yet done. Right? In this question, there is no discussion around that. Right? So taking this decision of instructing the senior member to conduct a fair distribution task would not be right. Just imagine the senior team member is not doing that, and then you're instructing them to do a fair distribution. They would not like it. Right? And as a project manager, I don't want to demotivate anyone just because I didn't analyze something. Okay? So first I would analyze, and then I will take that decision. So B is not correct. Then I go to C. Employ a methodology to ensure fair distribution of tasks among the team members. Now, whether you instruct the senior member or you employ a methodology, you are somehow establishing that whatever the claim is being made is true, which is not the case. And for the same reason that we eliminated B, we can eliminate C also. Then we go to D. Help the team define a new ground rule for task distribution. Again, the same thing. If you see this, if you have spotted this one word properly, the question is easy. If you could not spot it, the question is difficult. Right? Helping the team define a new ground rule for task distribution again is saying that somehow something is wrong with the task distribution, but that's not the case. Right? It is just a claim by a team member. It is not yet established that it's a problem. Right? Hence, we can eliminate D as well. So if you look at this question, the question is saying that the team member claims that the distribution is not proper. Option B, option C, and option D says that, okay, we have agreed to it, and that's why we are taking the decision. While option A is saying that, okay, it's a claim, let us verify that. Let us understand a little bit more about the concern. Then we will take these decisions, whatever would be proper. Okay, so these are the decisions that you will take. You would either need to instruct the member or employ a methodology or help the team define. You could take any of these three decisions, but only if after your analysis, you come to know that these actions are required. Okay, that's why A is the best choice. Is it clear, everyone? All of you answered also A, but
Yeah.
it's clear, right? Whatever we are discussing.
Amit, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So Amit, if the D option would have been help the team member define a ground rule instead of a new ground rule, won't that be an option to be considered?
See, would still first you would do the analysis. Okay, you need to verify whether there has to be a ground rule or not, or do we already have a ground rule? Okay, if you're saying that helping the team define a ground rule, which means probably they don't have a ground rule. Okay, and you are helping them define a ground rule, but we don't know whether that is there or not. Somebody has claimed that the decision is not paper. First, we'll verify and then we'll go.
Yeah, so claim is the word that drives the answers. If
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And a spin-off of this question is that they will not mention a team member is claiming.
Correct.
They will directly say that a senior member is taking up all the exciting features.
Correct.
Okay, and leaving. Then automatically you would know that now I don't need to analyze the concern because there's no concern.
Yeah.
Right? I need to go and help them define. That becomes much better. Much
Then
better than instructing, much better than employing a methodology yourself. Helping the team create that methodology or create that ground rule is always better.
Sounds good. Thanks, Amit.
So at that point of time, the question would not be whether we want to analyze or not. The question would be which action is better. Okay.
Correct.
And then at that point of time, D is better because we are involving the team.
Yeah, got it. Sure.
Thank you so much for that question.
Thanks, Amit.
Right. So what the lesson that we learn? The lesson that we learn here is we have to check in PMP exam when we are solving the questions, is it a real problem or just a noise? Okay, noise means somebody is creating a noise. So we need to verify, okay, is this new member creating a noise? Stakeholder, customer, sponsor, supplier, anybody, right? Are they just creating noise or is it a real problem? Only then you will solve it, right? Why to solve a problem which is not there? So first verify whether it's a problem or not and then solve it, okay? Now let's go to question number 2. Okay, again, go through the question, put the answer in the chat box, then we will discuss. All right, so let's discuss this one. An agile team is supported by a vendor's team in completing the work of a project. Okay. The project manager wants to offer constant reporting of project's progress status. Which of the following ways of displaying the information would be most effective? Okay. So again, while reading the question, we have to spot some important information. An agile team is supported by a vendor's team, right? So we have a vendor in play in completing the work of a project. Right? That's a background. The project manager wants to offer constant reporting of project's progress status. Okay, so while you are reading the question, it is very important to understand what are we trying to do? What is the main problem? Okay, first question, we try to validate whether there's a problem or not. Okay, here we are trying to understand the problem statement. Okay, what is it that the project manager is trying to achieve? Project manager wants to offer a constant reporting of project's progress status. Right? So now, which of the following ways of displaying the information would be most effective? So what would you choose to display the information? Let's see. Use fishbowl windows to display both the team's Kanban boards in real time. Okay. First of all, we are looking at displaying the information. What does fishbowl window do? Fishbowl window helps us in collaboration. Okay. Fishbowl window is like you have two different teams. Okay. One team has the webcam and the monitor on. Other team also has the camera and the monitor on, and every team is looked at. Okay. So there's one team here, and let's say other team in different city. On their wall, there would be a camera and a monitor. The monitor will show this team, which will also have a monitor and a camera. So camera will capture this camera will capture this team, will be displayed on this monitor. So the teams would be able to see the other team very well. Right? So they will be able to collaborate well. Now just imagine you are doing this for collaboration, and instead of collaboration, you are displaying the information there on the monitor. It's of no use, right? Actually, then you don't need to use fishbowl windows for that. Okay? And hence, this will not be a good choice. Then we go to B. Display both the team's reports sequentially on monitors placed in both the team's location. Okay. Now, instead of using a fishbowl window, we are saying that, okay, let us put it sequentially. Team A's performance, then team B's performance, then team A's performance, then team B's performance. This is a better solution, but is it helping us in what we want to achieve? Okay. What are we wanting to achieve? We are trying to achieve constant reporting of project's progress status. So we are looking at the project's progress. And this is saying that we will display both the team's reports sequentially. So one after the other, you will come to know about the team's performance, but you will not come to know about the project's performance. For the project performance, you will have to add both of their performance. Only then you will come to know about the project. Right? Otherwise, you will only come to know about their teams. So this is also not a very good choice. Then we go to C. Set up a common platform where updates can be made all the time. Right? Looks a very good choice. Right? We have a common platform where updates can be made all the time. Right? So looks like a good choice. Then we go to D. Combine both the teams' update on a single feature burn-up chart. Now what we are doing, we are saying that instead of displaying both the teams' work, let us combine that and show it as one unified report. Is it helping us provide the project progress report? Yes. So this is also a good choice. Now the question is, which one would you select? C also looks like a good solution. D also looks like a good solution. Okay. Whichever option is directly helping you achieve your objective or answering the question is what you have to choose, because we are looking for displaying the information as a most effective way. Right? So setting up a common platform where updates can be made all the time is a little bit general. But combining both the teams' update on a single feature burn-up chart is specific and is answering my question. So although here, what we are selecting is just a common platform, we are not talking about how we will display the information. What information would be displayed, right? So it is not answering the question, although it is providing a good tool, but it is not answering the question. The answer of the question is combining both the teams' updates. So you have to combine both the things and then display it somewhere. Okay, that's why D is little bit better than C, and this is what we are looking for. Okay, there will be options which both would look good, both would be providing solution as well, but we have to look at what would be the most effective. This could also be effective, but a more effective solution would be D. That's why we would choose that. Okay, and C is eliminated. Is it clear, everyone? Any doubts?
I mean, just one more concern. Can we add that even in the option C, it does not say that whether the other team is sitting together or in a different, or our location is also not clear, right? So we
Yeah.
can avoid with that as well, right?
Yeah. So what you're saying is a very valid point. Okay. That it does not say that whether agile team and the vendors team are sitting together or sitting in different cities. Okay. So
Right.
we don't know. So we will not make a decision based on that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we don't know something, we don't have to assume anything. We will neither assume that they are together, nor we will assume that they are sitting differently. Okay.
Right.
What we'll look at is what is helping me display the information in the most effective way. Okay. Now, whether I display this for two different locations or whether I display in the same location where the two people are working, but my option is effective. Okay. So if it is not mentioned, we don't have to worry.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Great spotting, by the way.
Uh, so,
Yeah, Vipin, please.
so
Go ahead.
yeah, sorry. Amit, I have a question. So basically what I think Avinash just mentioned regarding the team being virtual and in the same location,
Mhm.
that won't impact the C and the D option, because what we are saying is a common platform. This common platform can be a platform which is being made on a software. And similarly, this feature burn-up chart can also be on the online feature,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, absolutely. So C and D
Correct.
won't matter whether we are talking about virtual team or co-located
Exactly.
team.
But the only point that actually what happened was this question was one of the questions in one of the first mock, complete mock.
Yeah,
This was one of the question from there.
yes.
So that time I selected actually C as an option and it went wrong. And that's how I know that D is the right option. So
Okay. And
it's
and
not
actually I'm spotting all those different type of questions. Okay, I'm putting up on YouTube Shorts also. And the
correct.
kind of discussions that I'm getting from those shorts is the
Yeah.
question that I'm selecting for discussion because those questions are important to discuss.
Correct. So my point is that although I said D right now, but the first time when I saw this question, C was the option that I made. And the reason was that when you set up a common platform where updates can be made at the time,
Mhm.
like I'm just trying to understand this particular option gives you more features because you're setting up a common platform. So it is giving you more feature, more insights into the progress of the project. And when you do a feature burn-up chart, maybe that would give you a very specific information.
Limited
Like it would
information.
correct limited information. And that is the reason I selected C.
Okay.
But
Okay. See, the idea here is that although we are setting up a common platform, but we are
yeah,
not talking about what will be displayed there. Okay. Maybe the platform is common, and you're again displaying both the teams report different sequentially or different. Right. So that may happen. So there is an option which is helpful, but we are not very clear if we are meeting our purpose. Okay,
yeah,
because we have to display ultimately the project's progress report. Okay,
correct.
which is helping here. So if we keep a track of feature, then we will get to know about the project. So that is why, as I said, D is slightly better than C.
It's a very thin line between C and D actually.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And when we see such questions, okay, these are what are called difficult questions, right? So
Yeah,
when we see such questions, what we have to look at is whatever the question is asking, which option is answering it directly. Okay, any direct answer, any specific answer is better than just a general answer. Because
general.
when we talk about general answer, there are multiple things at play. But when we talk about specific things, we are answering exactly the same question.
Okay. Will this answer change if in option C,
Mhm.
instead of setting up a common platform, it talks about something specific which shows the project progress as a platform? Will
Yes,
that
this will become better.
correct? Common platform is the word that took away the edge from this answer, right?
Yes, correct. So if
Okay.
it does talk about project progress, combining both the teams, and then we are saying that we will have a common platform or anything else, okay,
Mhm.
this becomes a little bit better because here we are talking only about feature. But feature might not only be the only thing that would tell us about the project's progress.
Got it. Yeah. Sounds good. Thanks, Amit.
All right. So how do we spot these kind of questions? Okay, and what is happening here? Okay, what we need to understand is that there is a scope shift. Okay, very subtle scope shift that has happened between the question and the options. What am I talking about? Okay, look at the question. Okay, question is talking about the project's progress status. Okay, there are two teams, and we are looking for the project's progress status. Okay, there will be very logical tools being used in your exam. Okay, but those tools are good, but your intention is not being met. Intention is project's progress status. Okay, so what is the subtle scope shift that has happened in the option A? If you look at this, both the teams can be on board, right? The scope shift has happened from the project to the teams. Same thing in option B. Both the teams' location separate. Same thing with C, setting up a common platform. Right? So we are talking about different teams together. This is the slight scope shift that has happened from what the question is asking and what the option is talking about. While if you look at option D, it does talk about combining the efforts of both the teams and then displaying it for the project. Right? So if you are able to spot this in 60 seconds or 70 seconds, okay, the questions would be easier to eliminate. Okay, because this is a very valid understanding that question is asking about the project and we are answering for the individual teams or a product component or a supplier. Right? It may happen. So what we have to do is we have to look at what the question is asking. We have to create that boundary, and the answer should be also based on the same boundary. Okay, that was the lesson to learn. So we have to spot these subtle shift in the scope. Okay, it will help us. Then question number 3. Again, put the answer in the chat box, then we will discuss. All right, so let's discuss this. An agile team's velocity on the information radiator shows a dip after first few iterations, and the lower velocity remains maintained for a few more iterations. So what does it say? That we have a chart with the velocity, and somewhere it shows the dip, and that dip remained for some period of time. Which of the following is most likely reason for the dip in velocity? Okay, this is what you have to do as a project manager. Okay, team would be creating the report, team would be displaying it on the information radiator, and you have to make sense out of it. Right? And this is what they will check with you. So they would try to check whether you know why do these dips happen, or if there is a rise, why would that rise happen? Okay, are you able to understand what the problem is? Are you able to understand why could that problem happen? And these are the kind of questions that would be formed in the exam. Right? Especially for project managers. So the point here is that what could be the most likely reason for dip in velocity? Why would it happen that team are not able to complete the story points as much as they did earlier? Right? What is velocity? Velocity is number of story points per iteration. Right? So if there is a dip in velocity, which means number of story points that they are completing every iteration is less compared to what they were doing in the past. So why would that happen? Let's see. The team is working on smaller stories compared to what they did earlier. Okay, if they're working on smaller stories, which means, let's say, for example, smaller stories means less story points associated with these stories. If they're doing smaller stories, they would do more number of stories. And typically, the story points would remain same. So this is not a likely reason of why there would be a dip in velocity. If at all, they would complete the same number of story points, maybe more number of user stories, but does not tell us why there would be a dip. So we'll eliminate this. Right? Then we will go to option B. Technical debt created during the first few iterations was not considered while estimating recent iterations. What does this say? Or what do we mean by technical debt? See, what happens is whenever we are doing the work, sometimes we take some shortcuts, okay, to do some work. And then we say, okay, let me do this shortcut, and then I will correct things. Typically what happens is, in writing the code, people will just write the code, just like any way that they want. And then say, okay, let me first run the code. If it is working, I will come back, and then I will reorganize the code in a proper way. I'll put some comments, I'll put a nice I'll give it a good layout instead of just randomly written. Okay. And what happens in project is that because we are consistently required to complete the work, we may not find the time to come back and clean this code. Right? Now, this effort of maintenance of the code is now piling up. Okay, you have done one part of code, then another, and you said, okay, I'll come back, but you never found the time to come back. What would happen? This work would continuously become increasing. And it is a debt on you to complete those work. That is why it is called technical debt. Okay. Now, if you are not doing the work in a way that it is supposed to be, and you're doing a little bit of shortcut and you want to come back and do it, then it's an effort that you have to put. And if you don't consider that effort in the estimation that you are doing, then whatever you would be able to do, okay, you would say that, okay, let me do for 40 story points, but because you have to also do these kind of work, you will not be able to do that 40. And because these extra work is getting piled up, you will not be able to complete as many story points as you completed last time. Okay, so this could be a reason of debt, but is it the most likely reason? We don't know. Okay, so we'll just park it because we have to look at most likely reason. There could be another option which is even better. Okay, so for now, we'll just park it and then we'll go to C. Team has moved from norming to performing stage on the team development ladder, Tuckman ladder. Okay. See, if they move from norming to performing stage, they should do more story points. Right? They should do more user story. They should do better work rather than dip in velocity. So this is opposite to what the question is saying. Then we go to D. In the first few iterations, the backlog was not prioritized for value. Even if it was not prioritized for value, or even if it was prioritized for value, it doesn't matter. Okay, value has nothing to do with complexity. Value has nothing to do with my story points. Okay, story point is a unit of effort that the team will put collectively, depending on how difficult, how easy that the team thinks a particular user story is. It has nothing to do with value. Backlog should be prioritized for value, and it only tells us which user stories we should pick. It does not tell us how many we should pick. How many we'll come to know through story points, right? So value and story point have no connection. That's why we can eliminate this. So whatever option left is B, which was likely reason. And now because other options are not even likely, this becomes the most likely one. But it may happen in some question that you will see that there is another option which is likely. Then you will have to compare and see which one is more likely to happen. Which one is more likely to be a reason for dip in the velocity. Maybe one option is that one team member left or two team members left. Right? If the team members have left, you will not be able to achieve the same number of story points, right? So there will be a dip in velocity. So maybe that is a bigger reason of why there would be a dip in velocity. Okay, so if you do find two likely reasons, compare and see. If you don't find it, it is good for you. You will finally find the option. Clear, everyone? Any doubts, please? Okay. So now, whenever you are solving such questions in the mock exam, okay, you have to spot those concepts that you are not clear with. Okay, if you don't know any term, please do verify that term on Google, ChatGPT. I'm there. Give me a WhatsApp message, okay, and ask me about that term, like technical debt, okay, like velocity. If you don't understand these things, like norming to performing stage, if you don't understand these things, please do keep checking it. Okay, so what is velocity? Velocity is number of story points per iteration. Okay, so in this iteration, this is the story point. So my velocity is this much, whatever it is. Then my velocity went up, then my velocity went down, and then it kept going up. Okay, velocity is number of story points per iteration. Second thing that we learned is there's no relation between value and story point. Value is decided and done by the product owner. Story points is the team's effort done by the team. No relation at all. Then technical debt. Okay, as we discussed that if you take a shortcut in coding or creating a structure to meet a particular deadline, okay, you want to complete it faster. You want to say that, okay, even if I don't write the code in an organized manner, at least my code is running. Okay, so let me meet that goal, and then in the next sprint, I'll find out some time and I'll clean the code. If you keep doing that, your effort will keep on increasing that you would need to do to come back to clean the code. Ultimately, what would happen is your cost of change will rise a lot. If you want to think about technical debt, think about maintenance. of your vehicle. Okay, many a times we avoid maintenance of vehicle, right? Because we say, okay, let me reach this place, I'll come back tomorrow, and then I'll get my vehicle or car or whatever you drive maintained later. Okay, so it is a regular maintenance that we keep avoiding. 15 days, 20 days, 30 days. Okay, what would happen? One time the car will break down. Okay, and then we'll curse our luck that we have bad luck. We didn't have a bad luck. Okay, we didn't maintain our car properly. Right? Same thing would happen with coding as well. Okay, if you keep avoiding the cleaning of code, there would come a time when you will face a problem, and then when you look at your code, your own code, you will not be able to understand, because while you were writing the code, it looked all good and it ran. And that point, every time everything was clear, crystal clear in your head. How you have written it, what you have written, everything was known. But 1 month later, you come back to the same code, you will not be able to make heads and tails of it also. Right? So it is very important that we clean the code, that we put the comments that what this code is about. Okay, and we maintain in such a way that even if I'm not there, somebody else reads my code and understands what is there. And even if when I come back, I should be able to understand it. If that does not happen, then if you want to make any change to it, your cost of change will be very high. Okay, if you have low technical debt, your cost of change would be less. If you have high technical debt, your cost of change would be high. Similar to your maintenance of the vehicle. Right? If you don't maintain it properly, if it goes to breakdown, it will be a very high cost of service. But if you do preventive maintenance every 6 months, okay, your cost of breakdown would be less. There would be a cost to maintenance, but it will be very less compared to the breakdown that you might face later. Right? That is what is called technical debt. And cleaning the code is called refactoring. Okay, so you keep on refactoring, you keep on cleaning the code, you keep on maintaining the code in a proper way, so that when you face a problem, so that you don't face a problem, or if you at all you face a problem, you come back and you are able to identify and resolve it quickly. Okay? That's how technical debt is an important understanding to have, right? So you have to spot these things. You have to spot these concepts while you are preparing. That's why I say that spend 4 hours in completing the mock and spend at least 8 hours in reviewing that mock. Okay, you have to spend good enough amount of time on all the questions and understand every twist and turns in the question, every concept in the question. Right? You should be clear about it. Then only you have done justice to the mock exams. Okay, let us move to question number 4.
Amit?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Amit? Yes, can you please elaborate a bit on iteration scope?
Iteration scope.
Yeah, the score should be either 0 or 100%. If you are completing the sprint in
We call it
iteration.
sprint backlog or iteration backlog. Okay, so what you do is you have a product backlog of list of all the items. When you prioritize it, when the product owner prioritizes it, they have prioritized it in terms of value. Okay, and the team will say that, okay, based on our understanding of how much effort is required to complete these user stories, we can do from the top 3 items or 4 items. Okay, whatever 3 or 4 items they pick, that becomes your iteration backlog. Okay, so for example, if you create a product backlog in this column, okay, the team will pick from the top, understanding the story points and complexities, and they will say, okay, in the 2 weeks of our iteration, these are the 4 items that we can do. They'll move it to the iteration backlog. That's what we do in terms of iteration scope.
No, the score. The score I'm talking about.
Score.
Yeah, the score. If you don't suppose in an iteration we are supposed to do 5 story points. We are completing only 4. This means our score is 0.
Oh, score is 0. Okay, all right. See, the idea is that if there is a particular user story, okay, and which is worth 5 story points, right? And you had taken, let's say, 3 such user stories. So you had planned to complete 3 user story of 5 story points, which is total of 15 story points in a particular sprint or a particular iteration. Okay. Out of these 3 user stories, if you did only 2 user story and 3rd user story was 90% complete. So for the 2 user stories that you have already completed 100%, you will say that, okay, 5 story points was achieved. But the 3rd story was only 90% complete. 90% complete means it is not fully complete. If it is not fully complete, you will not be able to use it. It will not deliver any value. And hence for the 3rd user story, you will say that our score is 0. Okay, I mean, they don't generally call it a score, but you will say that it is 0 story point that we have achieved. Okay, so in total, my plan was 15 story points. Because I did only 2 user story completely full, 100%. That's why it was 10 story points and plus 0 for the third story points. So my actual story points or actual velocity is 10 story points. So for this iteration, my planned velocity was 15 story points, but my actual is only 10 story points. So it is particular user story. If that user story is not complete, then your achieved story point is 0. If it is complete in 100% sense, only then you will get the story points that were attached to it. Clear, Kamal?
Okay, so it is on the per the story points, per the task that we have completed.
Yes, absolutely. So it is, I mean, there was 10 tasks related to user story. You completed 9 tasks, but you have not completed 1. That user story is not complete. If it is not complete, you cannot take any story points from it. It is 0 story.
Okay, so globally it is not affected. Globally it is not 0. It is only for that task only.
For that, yes, for that team and for that user story.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so put the answer in the chat box for this question and then we'll discuss. We already have some options, I think. Okay, so let's discuss this. An agile team is not able to complete the assigned work due to a major blockage issue. The feature is critical to be completed to meet the schedule commitment made by the team. And so what's happening? There is a major blockage issue. So you have to spot that, right? While you're reading the question itself, it's not just a blockage issue, it's a major blockage issue. It may or may not have a significance in the question, but you have to spot it. Okay, the feature is critical. This is also something that you should spot. The feature is critical to be completed to meet the schedule commitment made by the team. So you are facing a major blockage on something, and that feature is critical as well on which the team is working. So what should the project manager do? Okay, let's see. Discuss with an expert to find the solution. Okay, we know our trick and we know our, not a trick as such, but it is just a general common sense of project management that if I am adding a third person to the discussion, it should be verified. It should be justified. Okay, you are asking somebody to help you, so you'll have to pay them maybe. Okay, or you are asking them to help you, then they are not doing their work and coming to help you. Right? So you are involving a third party. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of money also gets involved, right? So it has to be justified. We should have benefit of involving that person. It should not create a problem in itself, right? So discuss with an expert to find a solution. As of the given information, I don't have enough information to say that I need an expert to find the solution. It's a blockage issue. I'm the project manager. I have a team. Together we'll solve it. Why do I need an expert? Nothing in the question says that we need an expert. Okay, just because it's a major issue does not mean that we'll not be able to solve it. Okay, so now A can be eliminated. Then we go to B. Work with the team to find out the solution. Looks like a good choice, right? I'm project manager. I'll work with the team and I'll find the solution, right? But good choice is not good enough. We have to find the best choice. So we'll keep it. Best choice you will only come to know by comparing. Okay, once you have seen all the 4 options, only then you will come to know that yes, this is the best choice. Standing alone, nothing is best. Only in comparison, something is better than the other. Let the team self-organize and find the solution. Wow, it looks like another good choice. Team is a self-organizing team, so they must self-organize and find the solution. Looks like a good choice. Then we go to D. Ask the product owner to inform the customer of the delay. See, you have only spotted the problem as of now. You don't know whether it will definitely get delayed. Because you don't know, you may find a solution, and while you are finding the solution, you may be able to finish it faster. Who knows that, right? We don't know. So as of now, the delay is not confirmed. Problem itself is confirmed. The impact of the problem is not yet confirmed. Right? Hence, I don't need to ask the product owner to do anything to the customer. We will inform the customer, and we should inform as early as possible. But first, let us verify. Okay, what would be the delay? What will you inform? That there will be a delay. Customer will say, okay, how many days? And you will have no answer. Right? So we will not do that. Right? So we'll first analyze, understand the impact, and then if required, we'll inform. And not if required, we will inform for sure. Okay. But when we come to know exactly how much would be the delay, have we found a solution or not, and then we will inform. Okay. Now coming to B and C, two options: work with the team to find out the solution, or let the team self-organize and find the solution. So yes, what are your answers? I can see everybody saying B. Why are you not letting the team self-organize? Self-organizing is such a good principle for Agile. Yes, anyone? What is your answer? Why did you eliminate C?
Because it's a major blockage issue and the feature is critical to complete the scheduled commitment. This calls out this calls out for an intervention from the project manager, not necessarily himself, like he or she themselves finding a solution, rather helping the team to find a solution. So I think B would be a better option than C. Had it been a issue and it wouldn't have been critical to be completed, something of that sort, I think I would
Then you
gone
would
with,
say, okay, let the team self-organize.
yeah, let the team give some time and self-organize, because the time, I think it's a time-bound thing. It looks like have an impact in the delivery, so I will go with B. Yeah.
Okay. 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 This is a good thought process to make. Anyone else? Any other?
Amit, I have one thing here.
Yeah, Nash.
I will go for B. I will go for the B. The reasoning said the question says that an agile team is not able to complete the work due to the major blockage. It does not say about the individual person. So it means
Okay.
the whole team has tried out and they are not able to solve the issue. So where they need a help from the project manager, because there is one of
Okay.
the choice here. Because work with the team to find out the solution. So PM has to come and discuss with the team and identify the solution for it. So that was my thought process for B instead of C.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Any other thing that you have spotted and you think that B is better than C? Or something that tells you C can be eliminated? Okay, both the points are valid. Okay, absolutely valid. So it says that agile team is not able to complete the work, and if the team is not able to complete the work, which means probably your intervention is required. Okay. Second, it is talking about major blockage issue and critical to be completed. So probably this also is talking about your intervention. What if there was no major blockage issue? What if it was only issue? And what if it was not critical? I mean, it was not very critical, but any issue would have some impact on the schedule for sure. Okay, so what if they don't talk about criticality? What if they don't talk about the major blockage issue? What if they don't say that the team is not able to complete and they say that there's a problem that has happened in the project? What will you do as a project manager? See, yes, the team should self-organize. Okay, but it's the environment that we want to create. It's the culture that we want to create. Okay, so we need to take regular effort throughout the project to make our team self-organizing. Okay, but when there's a problem at hand, I cannot say that, okay, team is self-organizing, let them try it themselves, and then I will intervene and solve it. Okay, well, whatever problem it is. Okay, so when you see a problem, you get involved and you help them solve it. You're not giving the solution. That would be wrong. Okay, but you can get involved and solve. So the idea here is that even if it was not major critical or it did not say that the team was not able to do it, if it is a problem and you have two choices to make, let the team self-organize or help the team in finding the solution. Always go for helping the team in finding the solution, because at that point of time, finding the solution is important. Making the team self-organizing is definitely important, but that's a culture thing. Okay, and it will not happen through just one problem. It will happen through regular effort. Okay, so the team needs to self-organize, but if it has come to you, right, then you need to get involved. Your culture should be such that if there is a problem in the project, team would self-organize and they would solve it. But if it has come to you and if they're asking what would you do as a project manager, you will get involved. Okay, you will not say, okay, I'll observe what the team is doing, let them self-organize. If they're not able to do it, then I'll intervene. Not a good choice. Okay, at that point of time, we need to get involved to help them solve the problem. Okay, and throughout the project, we'll keep on building the culture where they can do it themselves. But if it has come to me, then I'll get involved. Okay, is that okay? Is that clear? Right?
Yeah, Amit. Yeah. So before going to the next question, I would like to add on one point here. So I am good with the option B, where we have to work with the team to find out the solution, which is perfectly fine. Which I feel is responding to change over following the plan is one aspect which we are taking care, because we are just responding to the criticality of the work, because it is actually impacting the schedule. My major, I mean, point of you can say consideration here is, if option A was saying discuss with subject matter expert to find out like most of the time, but
Doesn't
we
matter.
usually see but
Doesn't
we
matter.
usually see in the practical scenarios where team couldn't able to figure out the solution, and project manager is also non-technical in most of the areas where I couldn't able to understand the how you can say Azure AI service would work, let's say, for example. So
Okay.
in that case, most of the time I have to consult my subject matter expert, could be technical architect or could be someone like that.
Mhm.
So if SME was there in the option, then what would your thought process, whether I go with the SME or whether I still try to figure out the solution within the team?
See, it doesn't matter what is mentioned here. What matters is what is mentioned here. Okay.
Okay.
Does your situation call for an expert? Whether you call them a subject matter expert or you call them just an expert, or you
Mm-hmm.
talk about that particular area and say the technical expert, okay, that doesn't matter much in terms
Mm-hmm.
of this discussion. Okay.
Okay.
What matters is what does your situation say? Does your situation say that your team is not capable to find a solution? Does that it says that the project manager is not technical? Okay. Only if it very clearly says that you have done it everything and you are not able to
Mm-hmm.
find a solution with your team, then we
Mm-hmm.
will involve anybody, third party, whoever it is.
Okay.
Okay. So it matters what is said here, not what is said here. In this
Okay.
discussion, okay, not for every question, but in this discussion, we have to have something in the scenario that tells us that okay, we need a subject matter expert. Only then you will involve. See, involving a subject
Okay.
matter is time, is effort, is cost.
Is
And
cost to any
you will
project? Yeah.
only take that decision if it is justified, if it is required, if it is beneficial. And that justification will be there in the question itself.
But
Okay.
Amit, here in the question, it is mentioned as major and critical. So,
See, major and critical, you will always find these problems in project. Okay, you will find a lot of major problems, you will find a lot of critical problems. This does not in itself necessitate that we need somebody's help. Okay, we are project managers, our team is there, we are good enough to handle these major issues and critical issues. That's why we have been selected to run the project. Okay, if we ever see a major problem or a critical problem and you start finding an out expert, then there's a question. There is a question on the credibility, right? So the idea here is first we'll try. Okay. Then if you're not able to do it, then we will find a third person. Okay. So major problem or critical problem does not in itself say that we need somebody else. The question should say that, okay, we have tried, but we have not been able to find, or we don't know anything about that problem. We don't have that expertise or we don't have that understanding. Then maybe we need a third party.
okay, got it. Thank you.
And just to add to what Amit, just to add to what you just said, right?
Please.
Had it been team and the project manager not able to complete the assigned work, like had they excluded the project manager explicitly, then the option number 1 actually is the right answer, which is
It does make sense. Yes, absolutely. So if it says that, okay, agile team and project manager have tried, but they're not able to complete this.
correct.
And after that, whatever they say, you would need somebody's help.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Then subject matter expert would come into
Yes.
practice.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go to question number 5. Put the answer in the chat box, then we'll discuss. Okay, so let's discuss this. In an agile project that demands high security and privacy for the agile teams, a supplier has been selected to build a part of the product. Both the teams joining the daily stand-up meeting together is not feasible because they cannot join for the daily stand-up meeting. In the given scenario, what would the project manager do to ensure that interaction between the two teams, to ensure interactions between the two teams. Something is missing. But what would you do to ensure good interaction between the team? Let's say. Okay. So what is the question? The question gives us some specific information, okay, which we have to spot. Right? There is a high security and high privacy, just like we did in previous question. Okay, major problems, critical problems. Those are kind of requirements, right? Those are kind of specific information about the project. Here also it says high security and high privacy. So it may have an impact on the question. It may not have an impact, but we have to spot it. Okay, so we have spotted that. So it demands high security and privacy for the agile teams. A supplier has been selected who will do the build part of the product. Now the question is that how would you ensure the interaction between the two teams is effective? Let's see. Let the two teams work on a common shared collaboration tool. Will it ensure the interaction between the two teams? Yes. Does it take care of security and privacy? Probably not. We are talking about a collaborative tool, so we are not providing privacy which is required for agile teams. Right? So might not be a good choice. Okay, because we're talking about privacy and security as well. Right? Then we go to B. Set up a fishbowl window at both the team's location. It is similar. Okay, you are keeping a webcam or a camera or a monitor on for both the team's location where security and privacy is important. Okay, not a good choice again. Then we go to C. Add a layer of Scrum of Scrum. Okay, so for this, we have to understand first what the Scrum of Scrum is. Okay, so when we talk about Scrum, we have multiple team members and one Scrum Master. When we talk about Scrum of Scrum, we will have more number of teams and Scrum Masters. Okay, and these Scrum Masters together will form a Scrum team. So it will be a Scrum of multiple Scrums. Typically done to scale the Scrum framework. Typically done to ensure that if you're doing a very major project or a large project and you want to maintain that agile way of working, okay, you still form a small team, but you have more number of teams. Right? That is what is called Scrum of Scrum. Can we do that? Will it help? Probably yes. Okay, so here what is happening is we have three options. Okay, in two options we are sharing something between the two teams, and the question is looking for security and privacy. In other one, we are saying that we will have a representative from every team who would come and discuss. So what would happen is the representative might not share those things which are required to be kept secure or private. Right? So C is a better choice than A and B, which anyways we were not very inclined towards. And because we had spotted that it is security and privacy is important. Then we go to D, co-locate both the teams. Okay, again, security and privacy would not help here. Right? So we'll not try to co-locate, we'll not try to put a fishbowl window, we'll not try to have a common shared collaboration tool, which all of these three things are very, very important for Agile. Right? We prefer these things. We prefer to have collaboration tools. We prefer to have fishbowl window. We prefer to co-locate teams if possible. But given a certain specific scenario, whatever we learn as a general thing goes for a toss. Right? Because it is calling for security and privacy. Right? This is what you have to do as a project manager. This is what PMP prepares you for. That you learn something and then you apply based on the scenario. Right? We know that, right? Agile says use a lot of collaboration tool, use fishbowl window for virtual teams, use co-located teams and co-locate everybody if possible, have face-to-face discussion. Right? But if there's a project which does not talk in general sense, it has a different requirement, then we have to meet that requirement as well. Okay, that's why C is better choice than A, B, and D. Is it clear, everyone? Any doubt, any question?
No, not a doubt, Amit, but I saw it in a different way altogether, this question.
Yes, please.
So both the teams joining the daily stand-up meeting is not feasible. I give more importance to this statement because it is not being mentioned why it is not feasible.
Okay.
So because of that, so basically I took this question as more options as wrong, like A, B, and D turned out to be wrong because they never said why it is not feasible. Maybe co-location is not feasible for them. Maybe same time zone might not be feasible for them. So co-locating, setting up a fishbowl window is calling out for team members to be available at the same time.
Right.
Right. So they are not able to attend daily stand-up. Could be they might be sitting in a PST zone and somebody in IST in the late night hours. Hence, they are not able to.
Understood.
So because it's not saying why it is not feasible, I went with an option C as adding layer.
Yeah, absolutely. So what Vipin is saying is that the question is saying that daily stand-up meeting is not feasible, which also suggests that maybe sharing collaboration tool might also not be feasible, because even if you're sharing the tool and somebody is working in Indian hours and somebody is working in US hours, okay, they will never be able to have a common time. So even if they have a collaboration tool, they will never be able to use it. Right? Same thing is with fishbowl window or co-location. If the timing itself does not match, okay, they may not be able to use the fishbowl window. And if daily stand-up is not feasible, probably co-location is also not feasible. I won't say there's a direct relation to that, because it's an assumption.
Correct. Yeah.
But it's a valid discussion to have, but might not help us eliminate the choices.
Correct.
It's an assumption that we are making that, okay, if the daily stand-up is not feasible, then anything else is also not feasible.
Yeah, I went by that answer and hence I reached to the right answer. But yeah, that high security.
And which is very, very important that you have discussed it. Okay, it's important to discuss what we are thinking. Okay, that would definitely help. And the way you have looked at this gives us another way of looking at things. Okay, so it helps everybody else as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amit.
Okay, so these were the 5 questions that we wanted to discuss. What is the Scrum of Scrum? Okay, it's a scaling framework for Scrum. Okay, as we said, that when we are handling a complex project, okay, and we want to maintain the dignity of Agile, when we want to maintain that Agile principles and mindset, right? So we will not have a larger team, because the moment we have a larger team, you would start you will have the need of documentation. You will have the need of processes, which we don't want to do. We want to do more of a face-to-face, because scope is also changing, right? So we have a large team, but the scope is also changing continuously. So documentation processes will not help. So what do we do there? We create multiple teams. Every team will have a Scrum Master, and that will form their own Scrum team. So what would happen? Daily or alternate days, these Scrum Masters will meet, and they will discuss the progress of their team. In our question, the Agile team and the vendors, Scrum Master, they will meet and they'll discuss the progress. So they will maintain that privacy and security. That's why we went for Scrum of Scrums. Okay, that covers the 5 questions that we wanted to discuss today. From next week onwards, which is March, okay, we will have 2 sessions. One on Saturday. Saturday, it will be at 9 a.m. IST. And on Sunday, it will be 1:30 p.m. IST. It is to ensure that we don't face a problem of timing and time zones, that as we were discussing, so that we can have a shared time where we can meet, right? So 9 a.m. IST would take care of US, Canada people who could join. Okay, 1:30 p.m. IST would take care of people who are joining from Europe and Africa. So let us meet on Saturday, 9 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. and Sunday, 1:30 p.m.
The same set of questions for both the sessions, Amit? Or
I would add some new questions, so that if somebody wants to do an extra thing, it